Good afternoon, sweet world. What's going on, everybody? You're on with the boss, and I have a special guest here today, Mr. Michael McFarland himself. How you doing?
Hey, that's me. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So, welcome to the show, and just so our viewers know, let's hear a little bit about yourself, Mr. McFarland.
All right, well, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I've been doing the solo thing for about 4 years now. I've toured all over the U.S., and I've got a new record coming out in about a month.
So talk about your background a little bit with music and just things of that nature. How did you get started?
Well, I started playing music when I was around 5 years old. I started out studying classical piano.
Okay.
And I picked up guitar when I was around 13 or 14,
right.
Which is when I started writing my own music and songs. And shortly after that, I started a band called Conduit 4 that I was in for several years. And shortly after that band dissolved, I started another one called Aviatic, which we were together for 7 years and then went on geographical hiatus because I moved to North Carolina for about 3 years,
Okay.
Which was around the same time that I started the solo thing, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Cool, cool. So you talk about this new record coming out, but before we talk about that record,
All right.
let's talk about your older records
Okay.
and stuff going on with that. Like, your first album was what?
My first record was an EP called Michael McFarland Made a Mess.
Okay.
So I recorded it in I wrote and recorded the whole thing in about 7 days.
Okay.
And so that was the beginning of my solo career. I actually hadn't planned on recording it, but my sister was visiting from Brazil where she was living at that point, and she was sad that I didn't have any shows when she was in town. So I went to an open mic night, and I had some of this new solo stuff that I'd been starting to work on. And I was like, all right, I'll play some of these songs.
Yeah.
And afterwards, she told me that I needed to record them. So I went and locked myself in the studio and wrote 4 other songs. And by the end of that weekend, I had my first 6-song EP ready to go.
Nice, nice. So talk about being learning piano, being a pianist.
Yep.
You play guitar.
I do.
What would you say, was it difficult transition from piano to guitar, or what did you learn first?
So I learned the transition from piano to guitar wasn't all that difficult, even though it was it's a very different set of skills. But piano is great in that it teaches you the sort of independence of your hands and fingers and even feet in that case. And so the different movements of fretting the strings with my left hand and strumming or picking with my right hand, that sort of independence was already there, and I had a pretty good sense of rhythm. So I never have been and probably never will be like a virtuoso guitarist, but I very quickly got to the point where I could accompany myself while singing. So I started out learning. My dad showed me 3 chords, and I went from there, and now I know 4 chords.
Nice. So you have how many albums out?
So I have 4 out at this point. 3 of them are EPs and one's a full length, and the new one that's going to be coming out December 12th is an EP as well. Okay,
so an EP is
5 or 6 songs.
5 or 6 songs. Okay, so we have one of your new songs from your new album.
Yeah, this is actually the first time anyone's going to have heard this.
Really?
Apart from the mix engineer and myself, and maybe a couple of my friends in my house. This is going to be the first time this is gone out into the world.
Really cool. All right, so we're going to hear Michael McFarland's new song, Upside Down, and the name of the record is?
We Are the Architects.
We Are the Architects. Coming right up for you.
We grew our chairs onto the ceiling. To fall upstairs was unappealing from the get-go. Migrant birds have had a long day. They haven't heard. They went the wrong way. No one said so. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. The penguins now are at the North Pole. It's funny how we always thought so in the first place. Now Africa is close to Finland. The seas are rising. We'll go inland in the worst case. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. When top is bottom, right is left, spring is autumn, life is death, old is younger, north is south, we're full from hunger now. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. Let's find the upside of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down, of a world spinning upside down. Oh!
And that was Upside Down by Mr. Michael McFarland himself, and I'm back with him here on the show. So, Mr. McFarland, what do you prefer, Michael, Mike?
I prefer Michael, yeah.
Michael? Okay.
Mhm.
So, that was a great song.
Thank you.
I really liked it.
Thank you. I'm
and
glad you enjoyed it.
glad to have you on the show today. And so, I want to talk about where you got your vision for music, who
Okay.
inspired you, and just growing up, stuff you listen to.
Okay, so a lot of my inspiration, I mean, I still am always discovering new artists that inspire me, but the sort of the primordial ooze in which my my music was formed was 90s alt rock. So Eve 6 and Our Lady Peace, Third Eye Blind, Matchbox 20. Those were the bands that made me want to write music in the first place. So there's a lot of that kind of 90s alt rock DNA in what I do.
Okay. Now, do you see? How do you see yourself with when you're writing music?
Mhm.
What is a unique quality about you, and how you kind of figure things out when you're writing your music? The lyrics, the notes, stuff like that.
One of the big things is that most of my songs are about 90% written before I ever pick up an instrument.
Okay. All right.
So a lot of times, like I can kind of turn inspiration on and off when I need it to. So I'll collect little bits and pieces, that may come to me here and there on the audio recorder on my phone. But when it's like, okay, I need to write some new songs, I'll go to that library, and usually there's enough there that I can manage to build a record's worth of songs out of what I've put together there. And in general, I have the song structure and the melodies and all of that put together before I ever pick up a guitar or sit down at a piano or go to the computer and start trying to put something together.
Okay.
So I mean I haven't grilled other songwriters on their techniques, but
Yeah.
I have a sense that's not necessarily how
Yeah.
everyone else works. So that might be a little bit unique. Another thing is that the reason that I put out more EPs than full lengths, because this is going to be my 4th EP and I've only put out 1 full length record, is I like to conceptually group my songs.
Okay.
So each one of those EPs, they sort of fit together as a unit. They have not that all the songs like sound the same or they're all fast or they're all slow. But they're usually all on one EP. They're orbiting around central concept.
Okay.
So this time around on We Are the Architects, it was it's sort of a lot of musing on the idea of what it takes to pursue one's dream and how easy it is to lose sight of that and what you have to do to try to hold on to
Yeah.
and keep pushing forward. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you try to, especially with maybe a full length or even the EPs too, you want to send a certain message throughout the entire work?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's one thing I'm really proud about this new record is listening through it. I think you come out of it with it sort of ends with almost a little bit of a call to arms, a call to action of moving forward, and you know the whole idea of you're not done until you say you are.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, you got more music for us, but this time we have a treat. You're going to play some live acoustic.
That is correct. I'm going to play the title track of the new record. So this is We Are the Architects.
Cool.
And I am slightly out of tune, so just to do you all a favor, I'm going to make sure that B and E string are in good shape. All right. We tune because we care, folks. There we go. This is called We Are the Architects. Lincoln logs, Lego blocks, cardboard tubes, rewind the clocks, skyscrapers reach into the heavens. Tinker toys, erector sets, stacks of boxes we collect, all were abandoned by 11. And the blueprints keep getting harder to find, and the visions retreat to the back of our minds. Not lacking purpose, we're just lacking direction. No, we scratch the surface, we don't need your protection, 'cause there's nobody coming to our defense. Oh, we are the architects. Oh, 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 we are the architects. Oh, 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 we are the architects. Payments for a house and cars, build the cage and gild the bars, but we still dream of reaching skyward. Marathon, a cigarette, second child or 7th pet. The dream is just to be inspired, and the blueprints are hidden under our beds, and the visions we seek to live in our heads. Not lacking purpose, we're just lacking direction now. We scratch the surface, we don't need your protection, 'cause there's nobody coming to our defense. Oh, we are the architects. Oh, 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 we are the architects. Oh, 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 we are the architects. Oh, we can still build skyscrapers. Oh, we can still be lion tamers. Oh, we don't have to keep taking bricks from our foundation so that it won't blow away. Not lacking purpose, we're just lacking direction. No, we scratch the surface, we don't need your protection, 'cause there's nobody coming to our defense. Oh, we are the architects. Oh, 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 we are the architects. Oh, oh, architect.
Very nice. Very nice. I like the lyrics to that song.
Thank you.
I really do. I like the message. I like the entire groove of it. Really
Thanks,
nice.
man.
Really nice.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Glad
definitely.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah, so what do you think about this EP, you know, We Are the Architects?
Mhm.
What the main message that you're trying to send to the listener is?
Well, I think you could pick up a little bit of it there. So, you know, when you're kids, when you're a kid, you have these big dreams. You have this vision of you know, what you want to do. Like growing up, I loved building things. My mom would collect paper towel rolls that I would like tape together and build these huge structures. And I think for a lot of us, as we grow older and we move forward in life and we hit roadblocks, our dreams get smaller and smaller, and it's harder to hold on to those, you know, those dreams of building skyscrapers that we had as kids. And so that's kind of the whole message of the entire EP is, you know, reconnecting with why you love what it is you do, and, you know, pushing forward with those dreams and not letting go of what made you want to do what you wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah. So you talk about you know, just the building skyscrapers. What's that for you? Like, talk about that whole song and what it means to you.
I mean, for me, building skyscrapers is, in a very concrete way for me at this point, is the idea of being able to pay the bills entirely with music. So I'm a musician, and that's a decent percentage of my income, but I supplement it with being a graphic designer as well. And I thoroughly enjoy the work that I do as a graphic designer, but music is much more of my passion than that is. So for me, the idea of, you know, being able to build skyscrapers is to do this full time, to be able to you know, to wake up in the morning and focus on music and have that be primarily what I do with my life.
Okay. So you've played all over the United States, you said?
Yep.
So what is it, like a tour that you've done?
Yeah, I've done quite a few tours, all the way out to the West Coast and back. The most recent one was sort of the southeast U.S., down to Florida, and sort of a loop for 15 days on the road.
Okay.
And that one I did on my motorcycle, which was
That's
a lot
awesome.
of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of motorcycle you have?
It's a 2008 Triumph Bonneville.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah,
nice.
you know, it does the trick. It's got enough power that I can manage to get past the semis on the freeway and even fully loaded with all of my gear. So it does the trick.
Nice. So being on tour, what's the difference between just playing, you know, listening to yourself and going live? To you, a lot of artists find, you know, and a lot of listeners to music, a lot of people that listen to music, they think, well, what's better, live or, you know, the recording? Because with the recording, you know, little kinks can be fixed, but live music is the true artist. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree with you on that. The big thing for me is I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And so in the studio, I have to constantly fight with myself not to fix every one of those mistakes, because that's, you know, if you can correct anything with a computer nowadays. If you want to. You can manage to tweak everything so it's absolutely perfect, but it has a tendency to lose its realness at that point. And so that's constantly a challenge for me, is fighting that urge to, like, well, I could make it better. I could make it, you know, a little more precise. I could play that part just a little bit cleaner. And it's really easy to wring all the life out of a song by doing that. Whereas, you know, if I'm playing a song live, if I screw up, you keep pushing through. You know, you make it part of the song. You know, you can't stop and go back and replay that part live. So there's a very immediate connection to the audience there as well. When you're working in the studio, you know, you're slaving away on something, and then it's you know, months or in some cases even years between when you're in the studio laying down the tracks and when they're finally out in the world. So there's this long disconnect between the creative process and sharing the music, whereas when you're on stage and playing for people, it's straight from your mouth and your hands to their ears. So it's a very immediate connection, and in a lot of ways you can get a sense of how the music affects people in that medium in a much more tangible way than you can in a recording.
Okay.
That said, you still got to record the music, because if you perform it well enough, people want to have something to take home with them.
Right.
So
exactly. So your favorite place that you have played live is?
Favorite place that I've played live
could be a state, could be an actual
So
venue.
there are a lot of really cool venues that I've had the pleasure of playing at over the years. There's one that I played a few times in Florida, in Tampa, called Sacred Grounds. That it's a pretty small coffee shop, but the people that frequent that place and that work there they're phenomenal human beings, and so I'm always excited to make it back down there just to see that group of people and to play music with them. And it's a really eclectic kind of place. The last time that I played there, I shared the stage with an improv group, so an improv comedy troupe. So that was
cool.
a
That's
really fun
cool.
pairing there. There have been some other places. I really enjoyed in Eugene, Oregon. There was a place called Black Forest that I really liked playing.
Okay.
Also in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, there's an old schoolhouse that the like high school kids there rent out and put shows on. I think it's called the Old Princeton School or something. That I played some shows there that were always a blast.
Cool. So you talk about going all over the United States. Have you ever had the chance to go anywhere else?
So far, it's been confined to the continental U.S. as far as where I've played so far. I'm hoping next summer that I'll be able to get to Europe and do some touring there. I've got a bunch of friends who are musicians out there, and there's a music festival in Italy that's expressed interest in having me come and play there.
Nice.
So if all things work out correctly, then I'll be heading over to Europe this coming summer and playing some shows there.
Really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for that possibility. There are a lot of people that a lot of amazing musicians that I know mostly from the internet that I'm excited to have the chance to meet in real life.
That's really
and
cool.
And play some shows with.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. That's incredible that you can, the fact that you can just play live and tour the country and see the sights of this beautiful nation.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. So what would you think is the main aspect, just coming from a musician's point of view, being a musician, how does that differ from, like, your everyday life is it music 100% of the time, or is it, I'm going to do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, play a little guitar, come up with some ideas? How does it work?
It's definitely a mix. As I mentioned before, I also am a graphic designer, which it dovetails really nicely with being a musician.
Okay.
Because I can take my work on the road with me when I'm going on tour, and work from coffee shops and campgrounds and people's couches all over the U.S. while I'm on tour. There's a lot more that goes into being a musician, though, than just the playing music part of it. Believe it or not, I very rarely practice.
Okay. All
right. For me, once I know a song, I know the song, and
quick learner.
I write simple guitar parts, so as long as I remember the lyrics, I'm usually in good shape. I do spend time working on vocal exercises to try to make that stronger, because I generally, like I said, I write simple guitar parts, so I can pretty much nail anything that I've ever written on guitar without any trouble. But I'm always pushing my vocal instrument, and so a lot of times, like in the shower, I'll be doing vocal exercises to try to, strengthen parts of my voice that may be a little bit lacking, or improve my my pitch precision or things like that. But there's so much on top of just the music side of things. You know, there's booking the shows and the
Right.
tours. There's, you know, promoting. There's all of, you know, everything from recording the records to designing the artwork to you know, shooting music videos to a lot of other sort of ancillary things that go along with being a musician. Like, I'm part of a content network called Permanently Geek, where another singer-songwriter and I, my friend Kevin, we have a weekly show called Uncovered that we pit original versions and cover versions of songs and argue about which we think is better. So there are a
Cool.
lot of things like that sort of, you know, they orbit around the music side of things and they all feed back into it.
Okay.
But it's, you know, it's a lot more than just being able to hang out and play guitar.
Now, from what I heard, you're married, correct?
Mhm. That's
so
correct.
how is kids?
No.
No kids?
Couple of dogs, couple of cats.
Nice, nice. So how long have you been married?
2 years now.
2 years?
Yep.
And how does that go with the music and the traveling and
So going into the relationship, in like when my wife Beth and I first started dating exclusively, we kind of talked about that because we knew that I was going to be traveling a lot for music, and she's heavily involved in roller derby, and she does a lot of traveling herself
Okay.
for that. So both of us are on the road a lot. She was just this past weekend. She was in St. Paul, attending the World Championships of roller derby
Wow.
and she's on the committee that writes the rules for 90% of roller derby in the
That's
entire
really
world.
cool.
It is. But you know, there's been that dynamic from the beginning of both of us are on the road a lot, and we came into it knowing that was going to be the case.
Mhm.
So you know, it's not always easy, and you know,
Yeah.
it gets lonely out on the road, and it gets lonely when, you know, I'm at home and she's not. But you know, it's nice to have someone that understands that kind of lifestyle, and you know, there's a lot of trust that goes into it, and like
Right.
you know, being all right with each other going out and not seeing each other for weeks on end, but you know, that's the foundation for making
Yeah.
a relationship work in any case. So
Right. So, would you be kind enough to share some more material?
yeah, absolutely, I would be happy to. Let me think about what I'll play. I think I'm gonna play the closing track.
Okay.
Of the new record, which kind of goes, it goes along with that same theme that I mentioned that runs through the entire thing. It's possible that I'm going to, that whole comment about not practicing may come back and bite me on this one, because I haven't played this in a bit, but we'll see how this goes. This song's called Waiting to Live.
All right.
Waiting to live, weight on your back, fated to less than you are, fearing the dark, scared of the black, searching the sky for a star, living a life, playing a part, doing the thing you were told. They can't put out the flame in your heart. No one can make you grow old. And we'll burn through the end of the night. We're only as old as we say. Your day isn't done till you turn out the light. Let it blaze till the break of the day. Let it blaze till the break of the day. to live. Weight on your back, starting to split at the seams. Are we all souls whose souls are for sale, putting a price on our dreams? And we'll burn through the end of the night. We're only as old as we say. Your day isn't done till you turn out the light. Let it blaze till the break of the day. Let it blaze till the break of the day. And we'll fight when confronted, and we'll chase what we've wanted, and we'll finish what we've started, burning bright till the break of the day. And we'll fight when confronted, and we'll chase what we've wanted, and we'll finish what we've started, burning bright till the break of the day. And we'll fight when confronted, and we'll chase what we've wanted, and we'll finish what we've started, burning bright till the break of the day. And we'll fight when confronted, and we'll chase what we've wanted, and we'll finish what we've started, burning bright till the break of the day.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. I like the, kind of mellow in the beginning and through first verse, and then you know, right through. I like it. I really do.
My goal for that was I wanted it to sound somewhere between a drinking song and a battle hymn. So that was where I was coming from with that.
Well, you were successful. In
Excellent,
that case.
excellent.
I like the whistling. The whistling was one of my favorite parts. Probably my favorite part of the song. I really like that.
I decided to toss that in while I was doing it. I'd never done that before, so that might be a regular performance thing for me.
For some reason, reminded me of something like you'd hear in Ireland or.
I mean, that was kind of the whole battle hymn and drinking song.
Yeah,
like both
yeah.
of those. I come from a Scottish heritage, so there's a lot of that same sort of thing in there.
I got a little Irish in me, a little bit German.
Apparently, my McFarland ancestors got run out of Scotland for stealing horses. So I don't know what that says about. That might explain the motorcycle thing, though.
Yeah, ways to get away quick.
Exactly.
So, in this EP coming out, you played the title track.
Yep,
and
which
you
is
played
the opening track on the record as well.
Okay, and you played the closing track. So somewhere in between, there's four?
Yep, there are 4 other songs, and we heard one of them earlier. You played the recording of that.
Upside Down.
Yep.
So which one is your? Have you performed any of these live at all, or is this just the first time we've heard it?
I sort of, when I was on tour, I did a couple test runs of a few of those, sort of going back to what I said about that immediate connection.
Right.
Like I don't like to release any songs that I haven't at least seen how real human beings react to them, and not just me in a little dark recording studio thinking this is awesome, everyone's gonna love this. Like I like to take them out in the wild and let them breathe a little bit. So yeah, I've played all of the songs on the record live at least a few times, just to make sure that they worked.
Okay, so you like we were talking about earlier, you played all over the U.S. You have 4 EPs?
This is going to be my fourth EP, and
Fourth
I have
EP.
one full length.
And one full length.
This is my fifth release.
Fifth release. Okay. And you've been a solo artist how many years?
About 5 years now.
About
4 or
5 years?
5 years, somewhere right around there.
So you have been with bands before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is the main, despite there not being a bunch of drums and bassist and backup singers and what else and what have you, what's the main difference for you that you can see in a live performance from a band to a solo artist perspective?
Well, the biggest thing is the amount of equipment that you have to haul. Like, I can fit everything that I take on stage on my body, like, guitar strapped to my back. I've got, my cables and everything. I keep them in a motorcycle tank bag that when I'm on tour on my
awesome.
my bike that's got a shoulder strap.
Much respect.
It's a great little bag that I can fit all of my cables and spare microphone, spare direct box, like all the stuff that, duct tape, Leatherman, and some tools for doing guitar tech work on my instrument. But so that's a big thing, is that it's very lightweight. There's also a lot more room for experimentation on stage and on the fly adjustments to songs, because with the band, there was a lot of rehearsal and we were never, and none of the bands that I've been in were ever really in the jam band mode where it's like, all right, here's a basic structure and we'll mess around with it on stage. It was very, structured songs that we do this in this part and we do that in that part, and maybe we'll have this little one area that we'll try things on. But there have been things that, like, for example, on the fly, I decided to try whistling in that song, just to see how it worked, and so that's something that I'll probably continue to integrate into my set. So that's one of the big things. It is a bit more of a solitary endeavor than being in a band.
Okay.
Like it doesn't have necessarily the same camaraderie that you have with, like, hanging out with 3 of your best friends, traveling around the country in a van, and that kind of brotherhood that happens. But there's I've been lucky to have made friends with a bunch of other singer-songwriters that we play shows together a lot. I see you've got my friend Mike Sandy up on the wall there that we play with a lot, and we play together a lot. My friends Kevin Conaway that I mentioned earlier, and Sean Benjamin is another singer-songwriter that I play a lot of shows with. So we've managed to capture a little bit of that same kind of camaraderie and brotherhood that's been missing since I've been playing solo.
Cool.
So it's a little bit lonelier than being in a band, but it's also I get to do whatever I want, and there's not that same
the freedom.
Exactly.
The freedom.
There's which is a blessing and a curse sometimes, because you don't have someone telling you, like, dude, that song's just that just doesn't work. Let's scrap that one. But at the same time, you don't have someone telling you, dude, that song doesn't work. Let's scrap that one, when it's one of your favorite songs.
Right.
So it cuts both ways.
Cool. I'm curious to know, when you're playing live, and one song the crowd just loves it, and then the next song everyone's kind of like, a little more mellow. Do you feed, like, when you go back and write, do you ever go, well, that one riff or that one part, those lyrics, maybe I should change it up? Or do you think, like, I wrote it this way and I want to keep it this way? How do you throw that together?
There are definitely things that I've tried them live and realized that they just didn't work. They didn't connect. But in some ways, there's always room to tweak things. Like, even once records are released, like once I put out a record, it is what it is on the the CD or whatever format you're hearing it in. But there's still room to play with things live. Like one of my songs, Bottle Rocket, I've continued to do, like, little tweaks of how I sing different parts, and with some of the live looping that I do on stage, I've added an entire, like, coda section onto it that's not on the record, that's now become part of of that live performance.
Cool.
So there's there's always room to keep improving songs, but at some point when it comes to the recording of it, I've heard it attributed to a bunch of different people, but the idea that art is never truly finished, only abandoned.
Okay.
At some point you have to decide, like, okay, this song has come to the point that this is going to be what's on the record. This is what's going to be released.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're playing live, there's always the opportunity to continue adjusting things. And
Right.
I've realized going back and listening to songs that I might not have listened to the album version in a couple of years. It's interesting going back and listening to them and realizing how differently I perform them now than I did on the record. And it's not an intentional thing. It's just through
Right.
by little changes that happen in the evolution of the live performance of a song. It ends up being quite a bit different than what ends up on the
Mhm.
record. But it makes it so that when you come to see me live, it's not an exact parroting of what's on the CD. It makes it so that it can be a unique experience, and as those songs continue to evolve, if you come and see me again, you're still going to get a unique experience compared to the last time you saw me live.
Cool. So we are almost done,
Okay.
but would you play one more for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to do one that's not on the new record.
Okay.
I'm going to do one of my favorite songs from one of my earlier records. This is off of, I think it was 2 EPs back. Yeah, this is off of my record, A Failed Breakup, and this song is called Remember Me.
All right.
She said it's starting to get cold back here in Cleveland, and I haven't seen the sun in 7 days, and the ice is forming on the Cuyahoga, but I hope those southern stars will light your way. And like peeling off the pages of a calendar, our year was ending soon. Still the ducks all dissipate, just like in Salinger. Just promise me this too: when the lights go down in the Carolinas, as your eyes close now, is it me you see? As you find yourself in the Blue Ridge Mountains and forget your past, remember me. She said the nights are getting lonely on the North Coast, and I don't laugh half as much since your escape. And I wish you'd say I'm only what you miss most, and I wonder what you want when you're away. With the seasons slowly slipping into memories, December came to call. Still I wonder whether I will ever be as winter chases fall. When the lights go down in the Carolinas, as your eyes close now, is it me you see? As you find yourself in the Blue Ridge Mountains and forget your past, remember me. wet wood and tinder. I'm not ready to retire. There's still much more than cinders with memories of me. As you slip into slumber, just promise you will hold my heart still. 'Cause you hold my heart still. Don't let go as the lights go down in the Carolinas. As your eyes close now, is it me you see? As you find yourself in the Blue Ridge Mountains and forget your past, remember me as the lights go down in the Carolinas. As your eyes close now, is it me you say? As you find yourself in the Blue Ridge Mountains and forget your past, remember me.
Very nice, very pretty.
Thank
I
you.
like that song a lot.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank you again, Mr. Michael McFarland.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, and great music. The EP comes out
December 12th, and if you're in the greater Cleveland area, there will be a CD release party happening at the Symposium in
Ooh.
Lakewood.
Nice,
on
the
that
Symposium.
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, that's the show. I want to thank you all for listening, and remember, keep it classy, Lakeland.